Hello and welcome, ladies and gentlemen, to the very first episode of Stamp Chronicles 2025, where we discover the hidden secrets behind philately and how it came to be within the past as well. Today we have yet another distinguished guest with us, of course, Mr. Nalin Ahangama. It's truly a pleasure to have you with us, sir.
Thank you.
He is, of course, an ambitious collector who began his collection since a very young age, as he has said to us before, and it is truly inspirational to have you here with us, sir. So without any further ado, let's jump straight into our interview. Sir, to start things off with a bang, sir, many philatelists do have unique stories as to how they came to be with philately. What sparked your interest in philately and how did you get into philately at the beginning?
Well, as I have told you all earlier, my grandfather was a collector. He had a sizable collection, and he kind of inculcated that interest in. He tried to inculcate that interest in us, but only I took upon it because my sister nor my other cousins were interested actually. So I started. So he taught me, how to collect stamps, how to retain them, how to actually, put it in water and keep for it to come out of the envelope, and then how to dry it, how to maintain a stamp album. So I learned a lot from him, and he had quite a big collection. So he actually bequeathed all that to me. So like, thanks to him, I have a lot of stamps which are over 100 years old.
That just seemed quite an interesting way to begin with your collection,
Yes,
sir.
yes.
Since you already did have a head start from it.
Yes, of course.
Alright, so that seems like an interesting way to begin your journey. And of course, with that, as the saying goes, stamps are more than just pieces of paper but miniature windows into the past. Sir, what would you have learned through stamps which would not have been learnable without the collection process of these philatelic?
Yeah, well, stamps give you a window into the world. Now, I grew up in a time where we didn't have internet, and the only way that we could find out about the rest of the world was either to travel there or read books, or like you all refer Wikipedia. Now we had what was called the encyclopedia. Those were all books. So likewise, stamps were a kind of a kaleidoscope of knowledge where we could gather things about other countries. Because see, when any country issues a stamp, it is about something unique about their country. Maybe the people, maybe the great people who were there in the country, or or the sceneries they have, or commemorations. So it's that kind of thing. So it opens out our horizons into the world. And one thing that really stands out for me is Switzerland. There was this stamp which said Helvetia. So I could never find where this country was. Nobody had it. So I really can't recall actually how and when I found out, but I did find out that that was Switzerland. So I did some reading into it, and then I found out that their official name is Confederation of Helvetica. Switzerland is a common term we use for the name of the country. So like that, there are a lot of interesting things that you can gather through stamp collecting, but then again, not by just collecting stamps. You actually have a genuine interest. You need to have that keen interest in finding out what the stamp is about, why it was issued for. If you have that interest, yes, you can gather so much knowledge about the world by collecting stamps.
Indeed, sir. I didn't know that piece of information about Switzerland and how it came to be. So stamps truly are quite an interesting way to learn more about the world itself.
Yes, they are.
Alright, so moving on with our next question, sir. Every philatelist, as they say, has one defining moment. Whether it's acquiring a rare stamp, winning a prestigious competition, being part of an influential club like ourselves. So, sir, in that case, what would you say is your most cherished memory when you came through your philatelic journey overall?
Okay, so while my time with the Philatelic Club was very interesting and very rewarding also. I mean, we used to exchange stamps. I don't know whether you guys do that now. We at least one day of the month at the meetings we used to exchange stamps. Right. I hope you all still continue in that. Okay, great. So my special moment was, see, it's a bit odd actually. I have a home in Norelli that's also coming down the generations. So once we took down some old paintings because we had to repair the frames, and when we removed the frame and the board inside the actually what had been used for a board was a envelope, stamp envelope. It had 4 stamps with the lovely seal, and it had the whole envelope from it has been sent from Plate and Company. Then that was dated, I think, 1890s or something. So that was a great find for me because you have you have the whole envelope. You have a nice set of stamps, and you have a very clear round seal. It has the dates and all that. So the moment it was as if I hit gold. It was treasure that I found. So for me, that's the highlight of my stamp collecting life.
There truly is no saying where the greatest stamps come from, is there, sir?
Yes.
And with that, sir, as we can see now in the current world, we've gone from just traditional stamp albums as we've been collecting in the past to digital collections of stamps and even auctions happening online. So the landscape of philately has obviously had a drastic change.
Yes.
In your opinion, how do you view these transitions from past to present and even to the future itself?
Yeah, I personally think, having things like digital collection, those are all to do with commercializing of stamp collecting. While during our times we did collect stamps for the passion of it, not with the intention of collecting these and someday making money out of it. But I think with the usage of stamps coming down all across the world, now people see a window of opportunity to make financial gain out of this also. So I think that's why this kind of digital auctions, this kind of thing is coming up. So how stamps will evolve and how people will perceive that in 50 or 100 years, it's a bit hard to fathom. But I'm sure that it will remain, because as long as there are people interested in collecting stamps, there will be a value and there will be a worth.
True, sir. It truly has changed the way things have been in the past to even the present itself, sir.
Yes.
It's quite a fascinating field to be in.
Yes.
And with that, sir, stamp collecting isn't as mainstream as it once used to be in the past as well. We can clearly see that within the current status quo. So, sir, in your opinion, what can we do to try and ensure to preserve this legacy of philately and stamp collecting?
So, first of all, I think you must have a passion or interest in collecting stamps, because now it doesn't come as easy to your hand as it used to come to us. Those days, if we wanted to collect stamps, all we had to do is cut the stamps from the letters we got. Now you don't get letters. If you want to collect stamps, you have to go to a post office, you have to go to the Philatelic Bureau and purchase stamps. But then again, now I think the postal departments across the world are taking initiatives to make stamps more interesting, market them as collectibles, because they have stamp series based on topics that and they have nice birthday covers. And now the occasions or instances of issuing first day covers is much more commonplace than during our days. we wanted to issue a first day cover for the 75th anniversary of the Philatelic Club. We were told, no, we'll give it to you for 100 years. But now I think for even the most trivial of reason there are first day covers issued. So I think because stamp collecting has become a popular pastime, I think it is being marketed by the government or postal departments also across the world. So it's just that you need to take that extra effort to collect, but the opportunities are endless, I would say.
True, sir. As to see that the governments are working their best towards keeping it as mainstream as philately once was is
Yes.
truly quite rewarding. Sir.
Yes.
And sir, of course, since seeing that you are quite a busy individual with all of your work and having to manage your businesses as well, sir, how do you believe that juggling multiple responsibilities with philately is possible, and how would you be able to juggle all of these together, sir?
I think it's important for every individual, however busy he or she may be, to have a pastime, have some sort of interest outside of what they do gainfully or or their duties at home, because you need some time for your own, where you do what you like, whatever is your passion. It could be reading, it could be collecting stamps or coins, it could be anything which makes you feel relaxed. So in that sense, I always find the time to engage in whatever interests me. So because that is what life is about. It's not about one thing. It's you need to do fulfilling things also to have that sort of quality of life.
Indeed, sir. It truly is quite hard to manage work, but we can also see at the same time that some people refuse to have their own time for themselves, sir. So in that case, sir, how do you believe philately can help someone improve as a person overall in their own long-term anyways?
As I said earlier, philately can expand your horizons to the world. So it will add value to you as a person. That knowledge will certainly add value to you as a person.
Indeed, sir. That is quite true. Sir, of course, for those who are beginning in their philatelic journey, who have no prior experience, what would be the most important words of advice that you could give for those out there?
Okay. So first of all, you need to have that inquisitiveness, the interest that has to come from you. I don't think anyone can force you to collect stamps or force you to collect coins or do anything. There has to be an inherent interest in you, which your parents, and in my case, my grandparents, will help inculcate and grow. So I think it's very important that you have the interest, and then the world is your window. I mean, there are so much of opportunities to support this kind of interests and pursue interests. And especially in schools like Royal, there's Philatelic Club itself, and we have the Philatelic Bureau. There are so many other organizations who will help you grow and improve as a collector.
True, sir. Having a push really does make everything easy, and philately goes to the same, doesn't it, sir?
Yes.
Alright. Sir, as we can see in the current world, stamps come in various designs, various different patterns overall. Each one has a different story behind it.
Yes.
So, in your opinion, how do you believe stamp exchanges work, and how someone can be guided into the world of philately through these interesting pieces of stamps as well?
Like I mentioned a bit earlier, we do have an informal stamp exchange in the Philatelic Club. So likewise, I think we organize exhibitions. There are other clubs and philately bureau also who organize exhibitions, which again gives an opportunity to expand your collections. So I think again, like I said before, you have to have that thirst or that inquisitiveness to uh, to explore what is out there. Then you can grow as a collector.
And with that being said, sir, uh, if I were to know about what makes stamps collective, sir, in your opinion, what would make these sorts of stamps important and be more in value in the current world?
As long as there is an interest in collecting stamps, there will always be a worth. And stamps, coins. Now, for example, coins. After a while, their monetary worth, so their worth as to what is mentioned there might diminish, but their worth as a collector's item will increase. So actually, the actual monetary value will be much more than what is mentioned there in that coin or note. So likewise, stamps also with aging and based on the rarity, it can be a very valuable instrument. The thing is, for it to sustain, there has to be an interest in collecting stamps. This value enhances only as long as there are people interested in collecting stamps. But I am confident that it will stand the test of time.
Indeed, sir. And so, as you said, monetary value is really not what determines the value of a stamp, is it, sir?
Yes.
So, in your opinion, what makes these stamps really valuable to a person overall? Since seeing as of to how monetary value can always be changed, but having stamps close to a person, how do you think that makes a person feel more important as a collector?
Well, as a collector, I think once you gather an idea of how valuable your stamps are, then I think that enhances your self-esteem as a philatelist that much more. Like when I take my collection, occasionally I do. When I look at the stamps and when I see the worth of the stamps I have, it gives you a certain sense of pride. And when you know that you're not a person who's looking at monetizing it, but who wants to pass it on to the next generations, it's a very satisfying feeling, I must say.
Indeed, sir, satisfaction is what it's all about at the end of the
Yes,
day.
yes.
And sir, of course, in your opinion, as we can see in the current world, what do you think makes a stamp increase its value over time, and what should a collector overall be looking for when they're trying to find these sorts of rare stamps, as they call it?
Yeah, rarity comes. We don't have the capacity to judge rarity. It's all is there are experts, so we have to refer the refer sources like Stanley Gibbons to really find out how rare a stamp is. But generally, what we have learned is stamp with time, obviously it increases value based on the quality of the stamp, and if you have that seal, and if you have the, I mean, if you only have the stamps, that's one worth. But if you have the stamp with the with that is part of the cover, I mean, if it has been cut out from an envelope or bag, certain value. But if you have the whole envelope, which is a story behind it, then if you have that full envelope, it will say when it was sent or to whom it was sent. Sometimes it might also say who sent it. So all that enhances the value because the more information there is in what you have, there is a story, and that story will add a lot of value to the stamps that you have also.
Indeed, sir. What they say about stamps being windows truly is true, isn't it, sir?
Yes.
And sir, of course, to end things off with a thought to leave behind to people. So, in your opinion, where do you see philately going in the near future as well, sir? So, if you could elaborate on how it could be improved in the future.
I think it's important that we have philatelic clubs and such, forums to increase awareness and create an interest. Because now with the usage of letters becoming a rarity, the chances of getting hold of stamps isn't as easy as when we were children. So there has to be a mechanism or medium to create that interest. So in that sense, I think royalists are privileged to have a philatelic club to call their own. So I would encourage other schools also to have clubs of this nature to encourage this type of activity. Philately, numismatism, likewise, there are so many hobbies, and I think it's very important that schools take that initiative to widen the horizons of its students and give this kind of enriching experience also. It's not just education, not just sports, clubs. This is, this kind of hobbies also give you a holistic school life. When in that sense, you all are very lucky.
True, sir. Quite true indeed. As we can see, ladies and gentlemen, the world of philately is a very intuitive place. There's really no telling where it could go, but one thing is for certain. Philately still has a long journey ahead in all of its hearts, in all of the followers as well.
Certainly.
And to wrap things off, ladies and gentlemen, philately isn't just collecting a stamp, it's collecting a story. It's collecting an entire window as to what happened to behind it. And it's far, far more than just another collector's item, but it's another enthusiastic presence by itself. Thank you so much, sir, for taking time off your busy schedule and joining us in this video today to enlighten all of our viewers with your experiences, sir. I'm sure they all learned something new with all of your words.
Thank you for this opportunity.
The pleasure is all ours, sir. And of course, ladies and gentlemen, thank you for joining us within this wonderful ride. Hope you all learned something new. And of course, until next time, happy collecting.